Hey, welcome back. I'm Katie Hornor, your host. I'm so excited to have some musical friends with me on today's show talking about how you can have audio branding. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Flamingo Advantage podcast. I'm so excited to have two very special friends with us today. This is a couple that we met through Dan Miller and some of his events. They have been in ministry, they are entrepreneurs, and they write custom music for people, for gifts, for brands. And we've been working with them over the last few months. And I'm so excited to bring them here and help you hear the story of what they do for businesses and how you could also have audible branding for your business. So, Mark and Cindy Alewine, what a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you. We are
Thank you.
so happy to be here.
I'm excited for people to hear your story. And so I'd love for you just to kind of fill us in. You weren't always entrepreneurs, as I understand it. So maybe give us the quick backstory of how you got into doing the custom songwriting that you're doing today.
Well, I've been writing music for a long time, but I've been in ministry for a long time as well. So we've been, when I say we've, Cindy is part of the ministry that I've been in for 40 plus years as a worship pastor.
We've been married for a long time.
Yeah, she's never not known me in a particular role of worship leader or worship pastor. We've been married 42 years, and we knew each other the year before that, and I was involved in a church at that point. So that's all she's ever known is ministry, music ministry, and the like. And so we've been doing that for a long, long time. We're from Georgia originally, and God transplanted us to Minnesota. I still question that decision that he made, but here we are. And
to become missionaries.
And God called us into the church work as well as being involved with I wasn't always full-time in church, so I've been full-time and part-time in this role. And so when I wasn't full-time, I was part-time. And of course, I was working out in the marketplace as well and doing the things that we do. So in 2020, actually Easter Sunday, 2020, we stepped away from the worship world of me being involved with the church in that role and stepped into Mark Alewine music. And we've been writing music and releasing music from that point, but writing all my life, but actually got into the releasing world at that particular point. When I say releasing, we release on all the streaming platforms under Mark Alewine Music. And so wherever people listen to music, whether it's YouTube or Apple or Amazon or YouTube or Spotify or whatever, they can find all of our music there. And so that's how we got into this.
Awesome. And I want you to spell Alewine for us so that we're sure we can find the right thing.
Okay, so thank you. So it's Alewine.
All right.
Like
Mark,
the two beverages.
I'm sorry?
Like the two
beverages.
Ale and wine together.
That'll make it easy to remember,
There's
right?
a story behind that too, but we'll do that for another time.
That's for the genealogy podcast.
Yep.
All right. Well, good. MarkAlewinemusic.com. And we're going to talk more about this later, but we want to especially mention if you go to markalewinemusic.com/flamingo, you'll be able to find something special there. So Cindy, talk to us a little bit about what it's like to be in business with your husband. I didn't give you a heads up on this, but it just occurred to me that we don't usually have two guests on the show. And so I'd love to get your perspective a little bit on, roles and how you all work together in this business.
Well, this has grown our marriage more than anything else that we've ever done. And I'm very grateful for that. Didn't realize I had so much growth opportunities left in me. And of course, we have to frame things musically. And so early on, we talked about my facial expressions, my little micro expressions when he would share something with me. And I would refer to his tone of voice as my hot button. And so, it's clipping. Clipping is a musical term. If you've got the whatever gain or whatever up too high, it'll clip and give feedback. And so we just said, okay, this is going to be one of our rules of engagement. If before we start getting all offended and upset, we're going to say, sounds like clipping. And then we both know, okay, we got to decompress and get back onto a, calm thing. It's really helped our prayer life, just learning to communicate and plan together, and collaborating on songs has been especially intimate and delightful. I love words, and he thinks in lyrics and music, and so it's very fun to craft those things together.
And which one of you is the big picture? Which one is the detail person?
Goodness, that is so obvious. So
Well, it is
obvious.
to me because I
Yeah.
know you, but our people don't always.
The detail person is not the guy talking right now. So, so Cindy, we do have those gifts that we work in, and we're still trying to identify a few other areas. And we have those drudgery zones that we work in, and we're trying to identify those and figure out ways to overcome those. But I love being in front of people, and I've been doing that all my life. I don't have a problem with that. I look forward to that. That's not Cindy. Cindy is not that upfront person. She can do it, but that's not like, oh yeah, I'm very comfortable there. So I get to be the face and the voice, so to speak, and she is everything that I need to keep moving forward because I would be nowhere without her.
Love that. I love that. And in our business, I think it's kind of reverse. I'm the face, I'm the people person, I'm the big picture. I can do details when I have to, right? But I'd much rather be out in front and doing the teaching. And whereas Tap, my husband, is more behind the scenes, the patient one, the tech person, the handling all of those things, more of the innovator, the integrator, the inventor, I'll figure out a way to fix this. Just give me time kind of person. I'm like, I needed it fixed yesterday,
What a team that you make, though. And that's the beauty of working within your gifts. And I think probably goes back to your original question, like how have you guys worked together as a team? We've been able to identify certain. Now, we also are identifying areas, like I said, of drudgery that we're trying to figure out ways to overcome. Because
automate or delegate, right?
I like that. I like that a lot. But we're still doing the things that we need to do to move forward. A little slow, but progress, even small progress, is still progress. And so
I do appreciate Mark's giftings a lot more than I ever did before. And he has really honored and respected my giftings. And so that's been a huge area of growth too.
And let me just say one more thing, Katie. When talking about songwriting and collaborating, I can still remember this was, I believe it was 2019, and we were going out. We have a regular date night every week, and we were going out on a date. I can tell you where we were when this happened. We were on Cedar Avenue going over the Minnesota Bridge about a mile and a half before the Mall of America, which was our landing spot for the night to have some dinner. And I said, well, what do you want to do after dinner tonight? And she was kind of in a little bit of a mood, somber mood kind of thing, not a crabby mood, but just kind of a reflective, somber mood for whatever reason she could speak to that. And she goes, I want to write a song. I went, what? Because never have we written a song together. This was
I
5
said it
years ago.
snarkily, and he
Well, I took it seriously, and I said, okay.
Yeah.
Well, so we went out and had dinner, and then we came back home, and her dad was living with us at the time. He passed away in 2019. We were caregivers. Cindy was a primary caregiver for him. It was an honor to do that. And I came down to the studio. I said, you come? And she goes, for what? And I said, well, we're going to write a song. She had already forgotten because she said it snarkily for whatever reason. And we wrote one of our songs that we released called Unshaken. That was the first song that we've ever written together. And that song was really a difficult song to produce. It took me over a year and finally getting some more help to get that song done. But since then, we collaborate on more than 50% of the songs that we write here. And it's turned out to be an amazing partnership in terms of writing. So,
and you can produce things a lot faster than a year now.
yeah, well, that's just that one song.
Right.
For some reason, that song just took forever to get past some of the problems. And
there's some spiritual warfare with that song.
There was.
If you listen to it, you'll hear the pain and the rawness and the victory. So
we'll put a link to that one in the show notes if folks want to check that out. But another song that you wrote together more recently was the song that you wrote for us, the Flamingo Advantage. And if you have been listening, we've updated our music on the podcast, and you may have heard pieces of that song already. But we would love to share that with you if you head over the show notes. But tell us a little bit about how your side of the story of how that song came about.
Well, I'm going to let Cindy start this off, and then I'll jump in here because getting together with you was her idea. So go ahead, Cindy.
Well, we were at a business conference together and we were sitting across the room at a different table. And so after lunch, it was an opportunity to change tables if we wanted to. And so I told Mark, I said, "Ooh, I want to go sit with Katie and Tap because, I knew they were missionaries and we had been missionaries and I love missions and I really resonated with her message." And so we sat with them and we got to talking. And anyway, it just came up about a song. And we said, "Oh, we'd love to write a song for you." And so we worked all that out, and it actually had a huge input in my own life to keep going, to just open the doors of my heart and let the Lord do a lot of work. Katie, you're so masterful. You're business savvy, but you have a wealth of spiritual gifts and a way to bring out the best in people. And I recognize that. And the song breathed a lot of life into me, breathed a lot of life into me. And I think that's one reason I still listen to it. It's like my theme song. So whenever I need a pickup, I listen to it. I'm like, "Yes, Lord, that's exactly right." And I want to remember this. So songs help you remember. And I appreciate you very, very much. And that opportunity that really meant a lot of longevity and growth in our business.
Thank you for that. I think music is so important. And I know in my own life personally, music has been a big thing that God has used to get me through
Right.
some of the crisis times in my life.
Right.
The hymns and the songs that I learned as a child. And so it was really cool to meet someone who's like, "Oh, we could write a custom song for you." And I was like, "Really? Tell me more." Right. And it was just at a pivotal point as well, because we were just in the beginning stages of producing what was to become our little docu-series about our business and all that God has walked us through in growing our business from nothing as missionaries in Mexico. So we were able to use the song as well, not just on the podcast, not just on our video channel, but also in that series. And it really gave it a super special touch. And so
That's awesome.
it's really cool to think about audio brand. Like, we think of branding as like colors and fonts and pictures and things like that, but we don't often think about the audio branding. And I know if you grew up listening to commercials on TV like I did, like there was always those jingles that stuck in your head, like even now I can think double your refreshment, the double mint gum commercial comes back to my head, or the big red gum, or the, like all these other ones that had that catchy tune to them, or the songs that mean so much. Bigger than all my problems, bigger than all my fears. God is bigger than any mountain that I can or cannot see. Like, that song runs through my head probably 5 times a week as I face new challenges daily as an entrepreneur, right? And so having that song, My Flamingo Advantage, incorporating some of our phrasing and the things that we tell our people, that we hear our clients now telling their clients, things like, God is not surprised. You are meant to do this. Your message matters. And being able to incorporate that into a catchy tune that we can use as audio branding was just absolutely game changing, I think, and we'll continue to see the results of that. But Mark, tell us what was your experience, because you did a lot of that writing too.
Right. Well, we had, we met you at one of Dan Miller's events, and I was in a Tuesday call with them earlier this year, and I was one of the guests on the afternoon, and I took that guest experience and I went back and I wrote a song for the Eagles called "Fly with the Eagles," and so Dan kind of adopted that song as the theme song for the Eagles, and so they play that on Tuesdays before the 2 o'clock call, and so I had the opportunity at that particular event to actually have to lead those people, those Eagles that were in that room, in that song. It was very emotional. Well, Dan said something about branding and some other things. And so you and another person there, actually a third person, have talked to us, but we sat down with you. And really the way we write songs like this is we listen to your heart. And you so clearly articulated what you wanted and what you were hoping for this particular song. And I was just kind of blown away. I was really in awe of just sitting at the table with both of you, because I'd heard of you through Dan from some other things that he had talked about. And so to sit down and listen to your heart in that thing, I remember going home that evening, going back to the condo we were staying at, and walking around the parking lot and starting that song. And and then the cool thing is when we write a song with somebody, when we write a song for somebody, we sit down and listen to them. I'll write some notes, I'll grab some phrases, those kinds of things, and then we'll put those in there. And sometimes we come back to the table like we did with you, and we actually collaborate on some of the writing for the song itself, so we can really capture your heart. And so we were able to do that with you. And then really a song is only as good as the melody that surrounds it. Because if it's got a poor melody or poor instrumentation, I don't care how good the words are, people are just going to go click, right? And so I wanted something distinctive to start the song off. So when people heard the beginning of this song, they would know that's my Flamingo advantage. That's Katie Hornor. That's the brand, where it starts off with that bass, bum, 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 that part right there. It kind of captures you right away. And so through the writing that we did, and then coming back and collaborating, and then adding a few other instruments with the strings and some other things in there, we captured what you were after. And I love listening to it. I love the docu-series. I love your heart. And let me just say one more thing too. You know, there's been a lot of people, and you said this with flamingos, because flamingos know each other by their voices. The baby flamingos know the mom and dad's voices, or the other way around, whatever it is, or both. but they know that. Some of the things that you've said, other people have said, but the way you said them is what captured us. The voice of Katie Hornor and the heart of Katie Hornor is what captured us. So not only did we write a song for you, but we joined your group as well because we want to be part of this.
Yeah. And it's been so much fun to have you guys in our flamboyance coaching group. That's what we call our group coaching experience for those
So
of you
great.
watching or listening. Flamboyance is the name for the community, the flock of flamingos. And we're learning to embrace the uniqueness and the full color that God created in us and let that shine to the world and do its job. And it's been so much fun to have you all in there and supporting that community as you learn and grow as well.
Oh, it's been so great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so we've heard the song, and now we want to encourage each of those of you that are listening or watching this to head on over and ask about getting started on your song. And maybe it's not for your business, although I think that would be fabulous, like we've discussed, audio branding. But maybe it's a gift for someone, or maybe it's to commemorate a certain milestone or accomplishment in your life or in the life of someone else. And so Mark and Cindy have graciously agreed for us to be able to give you a 15% off discount on your own custom song. If you would like to write one with them, have them write it for you, you can go over to markalewinemusic.com/flamingo. And then when you are checking out and getting your custom song order started, use the code Flamingo Deal and you can get 15% off there. So thank you guys so much for that generosity. I'm excited to see how many of our folks will come out with their own song for their brand. I just think it's amazing. And I love the work that you do and the way that you honor God with your business and are doing that. So markalewinemusic.com/flamingo. The code is Flamingo Deal. And of course, if you're driving or something, we'll have all this in the show notes so you can come and find it at our podcast page. So Mark and Cindy, what would you like to leave us with today? What's your parting words for our friends?
Well, I think when people think about special gifts for people, I was talking with a friend when her dad was actually dying and she was with him, and she asked me to write a song in memory of her dad. And so we did that and sent it to her. We've written songs for birthdays, for anniversaries, for any personal type of gift. So we write for businesses as well, but so many people are looking for that unique gift that keeps on giving. Custom song is really the way to do that. So just contact us. We'd love to sit down and hear your heart and come up with something extra special for you to give as a gift or in memorial of somebody else.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Anything from you, Cindy?
My parting words would be to find your flamboyance, not to try to do life alone. And one of the key lyrics in the song is, only you can do the work God called you to. There's a message that can only come from you, but you don't run alone. There's others at your side. We show the world his glory as we spread our wings and fly. So my encouragement, I live so much of my life just a Lone Ranger Christian. And so my parting words would be, find your flamboyance, find those puzzle pieces God has for you to connect with so you can change the world and make a big impact.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we will put a link in the show notes as well to our flamboyance application if that's something that interests you. This is a place for faith-based entrepreneurs to gather and learn how to do marketing based on God's principles in a way that serves rather than feels icky, slimy, or sleazy as we're selling how we change people's lives through the gifts God has given us. And so we'd love to encourage you to check that out. And again, visit Mark and Cindy over at markalewinemusic.com/flamingo. And check out the show notes for that special code and all of the links to the things that we mentioned here today. Your message matters. You were created unique, and God has a reason for you to get that message to the world. And whether it's through music, whether it is through your services, we just encourage you to take that next step and do what he's called you to do today because someone needs your message. We'll see you in the next episode.